Prevails Nyakirario Mayeka. She is sentenced to serve 5 years imprisonment. For the second accused person, Pacifica Nyakirario Chogo, sentenced to serve 10 years imprisonment. However, for the first accused person, who was a muscle behind the offense here, is sentenced to serve 40 years imprisonment. Right of appeal, 14 days. To be set by the relevant judicial officer along established parameters of criminal responsibility. The court's reasoning was in recognition of Article number 2, Sub-Article 6 of the Constitution, which provides that any treaty or convention ratified by Kenya shall form part of the law of Kenya under this Constitution. Kenya ratified the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights of 1966 in the year 1972. Article 10, Sub-Article 3 thereof provides that the criminal system shall comprise treatment of prisoners, the essential aim of which shall be their reformation and social rehabilitation. In that decision, the Court of Appeal proceeded to substitute a life imprisonment sentence with a 40-year sentence. The appellant in that case had been convicted of defiling a 4.5-year-old child. In construction of the word liable to, the court in Kichanjele versus Republic held that the wording shall be liable to does not mean that the sentence mentioned in any particular section in which these words occur is merely a maximum, and the court may impose any lesser sentence below the limit indicated. And therefore, in my view, it is my view that the use of the word shall be liable to life imprisonment as prescribed under Section 234 of the Penal Code gives room for exercise of judicial discretion in sentencing. So, taking into account all that has been said above, what would be the appropriate sentence in the circumstances? The Judiciary Sentencing Policy Guidelines calls for a striking of a balance while applying the principles and objectives set therein. The victim in this matter, baby Junior Sagini, was a child of tender years, a child aged 3 years old. Before 13th of December last year, he lived a relatively and unexpectedly normal life under the care of his grandmother, the third accused person herein. However, the events of 13th of December last year will forever be etched in his mind, and should his memories fail him, will forever be engraved in his physical life. This is because he lost his eyes. He lost both eyes and was declared permanently blind. This was a life-changing event, not only for the child, but for the family and the community at large. The physical and emotional pain while felt by the community and the society and the family, was surely felt most by the minor, a 3-year-old child. I seriously believe that this is a fact that cannot be wished away. This child remains blind, rendered blind by the actions of the 3 accused persons here. The court has seriously grappled with the question of what would be an appropriate sentence in the circumstances. Both parties agree, and I do agree as well, that this was a first of a kind case. It had been unheard of. Before the 13th of December last year, to have one's eyes, let alone a child's eyes, gouged out without provocation, without good cause, in the hands of family members. Surely such a heinous act calls for a deterrent sentence. There are aggravating circumstances arising in this matter. The offense was carried out using a dangerous weapon identified as a knife. There was serious maim occasioned to the minor, who is now totally blind. But he's not just totally blind, he's missing both of his eyes. And one cannot start to imagine the enormous amount of physical and psychological trauma occasioned to this minor. And truth be told, most of us adults would not bear the pain and trauma sustained by the minor. On account of his tender age, the victim belonged to a vulnerable group. The offense was committed in a highly inhuman and grossly degrading circumstances. It was quite a sad and unfortunate incident whose actors surely must be punished. I have taken further into consideration the sentiments of the victim, baby Junior Sagini. This child is now 4 years old. He has undergone treatment for the injuries sustained. It is said that he will need to learn a totally new way of life, different from other children due to his current incapacitation. The mother has been left tormented due to the pain caused to his son. Her son. A condition that cannot be reversed. It is said that the mere mention of the second accused person's name jolts the minor to walk away. And this family cries for justice. So the minor will require an aid throughout his life. He will need to attend a special school and depend on specialized equipment for the blind. It is said in the report that he cannot pursue particular professions in future as he cannot see. For me, I think this is purely tragic. The effects of the actions of the 3 accused persons are grave, to say the least. The consequences of their actions severe. There is not enough that this court can do to restore the victim to his previous condition. before the tragic events of 13th of December last year. However, what this court can do is to assert itself in the kind of sentence befitting in the circumstances. While doing so, the court recognizes that the accused persons, although convicted, are still entitled to a humane sentence to assist in their own rehabilitation, even if they fail to accord the victim the same humane treatment. In so doing, the court considers the role played, particularly by each of the three accused persons. The minor lost his eyes and eyesight at the hands of his cousin, Alex Maina Ochogo, the first accused person herein. I am totally unable to find any mitigating circumstances on his end. However, the second and the third accused person's involvement came in after the fact. The court has extensively discussed in its judgment their role as aiders and abettors, whereas the outcome of their actions, looked at in totality, arrives at the same result. They had a limited role in the commission and participation of the offense hearing, and I believe this should be taken into consideration. I also consider the community attitude and the pre-sentencing report, which remains unfavorable towards the second accused person. However, the same is different for the third accused person, who is said to have taken care of the victim and the sister, while the mother has struggled to make ends meet away from home. I also take into account that the second and the third, are senior citizens aged 51 and 80 years. And in doing so, and taking into consideration the discourse above, I arrive at the following decision to be an appropriate sentence in the circumstances. I'll start with the third accused person, Rael Nyakirario Mayeka. She's sentenced to serve 5 years imprisonment. For the second accused person, Pacifica Nyakirario Ochogo, sentenced to serve 10 years imprisonment. However, for the first accused person, who was a muscle behind the offense here, he's sentenced to serve 40 years imprisonment. Right of appeal, 14 days. Are there any outstanding issues?